Oh yeah, da.
Okay, so Geshe was saying we spent a few weeks discussing the colors, really to be able to understand whether there is privation or no privation, meaning it's necessarily this way or it's not necessarily the case. And you know that His Holiness the Dalai Lama very often, I think in every teaching, he stresses this point that understanding debate, this logical path, is not only for the ordained, it's not only a subject that should be taught in the monastery, but also in secular education, in ordinary classes, because he says it's very beneficial for lay people as well to understand whether there is privation or no privation. If you understand this, it gives you the capacity to differentiate, separate things, and say, this is acceptable, this is not acceptable, this is good, this is not good. So this is a great advantage. So obviously, because we have people who have different dispositions and different mental capacities, we have those of the best capacities, those of middling capacities, those of the least capacities. So in the class, not everyone will understand at the same level. And for people who perhaps have not understood this subject yet, please do not be discouraged. Please do not be disappointed. Don't put yourself down. Just think, by coming into this class, actually, I am placing imprints. And at some point, those imprints will be activated. So Geshe was saying they don't expect them to be activated necessarily in this life, but in the future life, they will be activated. And Geshe says, I can see you being a great debating Geshe somewhere in the great monasteries. Yeah. And Geshe says, I don't think anyone else in Singapore is having classes here on the definitions and the root colors and the white, the red colors and so forth. So in the whole of Singapore, I think this class is the one that has the biggest virtue. Okay, all right. So Geshe wants an explanation of that. Okay, so Geshe was saying, let's look at it in another representation. So he has drawn a circle, and the circle is color. Okay, so everything within the circle is color. And then you see the circle is divided in the middle because we know we have two types of colors. We have the root colors and we have the secondary colors. So half of the circle is root color. The other half is secondary colors, isn't it? So, for example, on the half side that we have the root colors, we know that we have the blue, the yellow, the white, and the red. Now, within that also, we have many other instances. So, for example, the white color of the house or the yellow color of the wood and so on and so forth, right? So we have many subcategories. Okay. On the other side that we have the secondary colors, we have all those, we mentioned 8 colors and, everything that is not root color goes in the other section. And again, in that, we have many instances. So, for example, it could be the color of a flower that is in a secondary color, the color of a car that is a secondary color, and so on and so forth, isn't it? And Geshe says, if you look at it in that circle, you can see that if you take half a section of that circle, that if a sub area of the circle, that if it is that smaller area, it is pervasive that it is color. It is necessarily color because it is within the circle that says color. Okay, so you can see here from this diagram that everything that is, if it is a secondary color, it is necessary color because it is within the circle, isn't it? So it is pervasive. It is necessary that it is color. Also, everything that is a root color, it is pervasive or it is necessarily a color because it is contained within the circle that says color. Okay, another way. Now let's do a circle, and that circle represents root color. Now divide the circle into 4 areas by drawing 2 vertical lines. So 1/4 of the circle is blue, the other is yellow, the other is white, and the last one is red, isn't it? Okay, so now each one of those quarters, right, it's like a pizza slice, all right? So each one of these, the quarter of the pizza, if it is, let's say, the white, it is necessarily root color. If it is red, it's necessarily root color. If it is blue, it's necessarily root color, and so forth, isn't it? And then again, within each one of those sections, you have many. So for example, if you're in the section of blue, you have the blue, the color of the blue house, the color of the blue dress, the color of the blue flower, and so on and so forth, all right? Now draw another circle, and this time, right in the middle of the circle, secondary colors. In the secondary colors, we were given a list of 8. However, we know that 8 is just like a sample of secondary colors, because actually we have many more secondary colors. So this time you have to slice the pizza into many sections. And each one of those thin sections has to be secondary color, because it is within that circle. It's a slice of that circle, isn't it? And then for each one of those, you can apply this color to the house, to the car, to the wood, to whatever object, isn't it? So again, all those things, they become secondary colors. Do another circle and write at the center, wood color. Okay, now you can subdivide this, you can slice this up, and you can have the white wood color, the black wood color, the yellow wood color, the green wood color, and so on and so forth. But each one of those is wood color because it's a slice of the circle that says wood color. Okay, so you can see that everything that is within this circle is necessarily a secondary color, isn't it? There's no escaping the fact that it is secondary color. Now imagine that one of the slices, right, is, sorry, I said secondary color, I meant wood color, the color of the wood, okay? Now imagine that one of the slices is black. Okay, so this is black out of the wood color. Okay, so if it is black wood color, it is pervasive. It is necessary that it is wood color, isn't it? Because it's a slice from that pizza of the wood color. Okay, but if it is wood color, it is not pervasive. It is not necessary that it is the black wood color, because you have all the remaining pizza apart from this slice. All of this can be wood color. Okay, so Geshe says, I think you understand what, where we're going here with this privation. If it is this, it's necessary that, or if it is this, it's not necessary that is that. All right, okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to break the class into 4 groups. Okay, one group is going to be the blue group. The next one is going to be the yellow group. The third is the white group. The fourth one is the red group. Okay, break up in groups. And each group will have to calculate the possibilities of their color, the blue. If you are the blue team, okay, what are the possibilities of blue and color? So you have to compare the blue with color. If you're in the second team, which is yellow, your color is yellow. So you will be calculating yellow and color. If you are the white team, you are comparing white with color. And if you're in the red team, red and color. Okay, so amongst yourselves, in your group, calculate the possibilities. Because Geshe says, I don't know enough English to be in that discussion, but amongst yourselves, calculate. Okay, so for each team, we'll have to calculate the possibilities. If there are three possibilities, first of all, when you give your answer, you have to say, okay, the first possibility is this. Then the other two possibilities are going to be who pervades whom and who does not pervade the other. Okay, so if it is A, it is pervasive, or meaning it's necessarily B. But if it is B, it's not necessarily, it's not pervasive, but it is A. You have to calculate this. And finally, I want you to give a possibility of something which is neither. If within your group is someone who does not know or does not understand how to calculate the possibilities, those who understand it, it will be very good if they explain it. Actually, it will be very good if you gave some additional information. So when you say this is the example of the possibility of something which is both, and then please explain. Or when you come to calculate and say if it is A, it is necessarily B, then please explain. Or if you say if it is B, it's not necessarily A, please explain. And then when you give the possibility of that which is neither, again, please explain. If you can give additional explanation, it's very good. Okay, if you cannot give the reason straight away, that's fine. If you could just calculate the possibilities, that would be great. And then later we can elaborate with the reason, isn't it? Okay, last 2 minutes. Ding, 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 ding.
Time's up.
Yep, time's up. Hands down.
Group Blue, please present your answer.
Which is this? Which group do we have?
Blue House.
Yeah.
Blue, the blue. Okay, the blues. Go the blues.
Okay, so we are able to find the possibility where it's blue and it is a color. So that is the blue color of medicine Buddha.
Okay, Nika Impeg Moon. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, for the second possibility, if it's blue, it's necessarily a color. If it's a color, it is not necessarily blue color. So for example, my blue. Oh, no need, sorry. So no example. For example is no example, right? Oh, red Tara, okay. The red color of red Tara.
Okay.
The red color of Amitabh.
Okay, ngombo ina kato imbe chabu. Kato ina ngombo imbe mai chabu. Pecha sana kato marpo.
Oh, mambo kato chichi.
Yeah. Okay.
So for the third possibility, something that is neither of the two is a banana. Or a cockroach with horns.
Ngombo ina. Oh, okay. The first one finished. The second group, please.
So should I repeat all over again?
Yes, please. That would be good. So the first one.
There are three possibilities. So the first possibility is the example we quote yellow zambala. And for the second possibility, which one pervades which one? We think the yellow pervades color and color do not pervade yellow. And our example is blue ashobia. And
blue ashobia. Okay.
Are we able to find something that is neither of the two? We think is red apple.
Three possibility is to find something that is both of the same. Okay, for example, white color of a shell.
Okay. Yes.
Right.
Second
possibility, which is which pervades which one? So we have the color and the white, right? So the white pervades color, whereas the color does not pervade the white because it can be multiple colors. For example, yellow.
Hello. Yeah. For us, we think that there's actually three possibilities as well. First, the red color is a color. So example will be the color of red amitabha. If it is the color of red, it is pervasive that it is a color. If it is not a color, if it is a color, it is not pervasive that it is red. Example will be the color of green omogacity. Yep, and an example of neither will be the wings, a pig with the wings.
All right, so you have all heard each other's responses, replies. So what do you think? Did you find any mistakes, or did you think all the answers were correct? Okay, is all the answers from all the groups okay? Yeah, no, that's correct answer. Red apple. You see, if you have given us a response apple, right, there's no color attributed to that. And if you had just said apple as a possibility of something which is neither, there will be absolutely no doubt about the correctness of the answer. Okay, so maybe that's something you want to keep in mind, because if you start attributing a color to the apple, right, then there will be people who will start doubting and say, oh, okay, now do I have to calculate? Is it color? Is it yellow? Is it red? What is it? Okay, so then that opens it up to investigation. So when we try to give the example of something which is neither, there are two ways you could go here. Since we are discussing colors, one way of thinking is get out of colors. Give an example of something which is not related to color at all. Okay. There's another way of thinking that says, okay, it can include color as long as I make sure that I avoid the two possibilities. So there are two ways to go through that. Okay, so Geshe says, I think you understand now pervasion and no pervasion. So Geshe says, I want to ask you a question.
저도 못한 그랬어.
Yeah, all right. So, for example, we have white and black. Do we have 3 or 4 possibilities? So there are multiple answers. Some say 3, some say 4, some say 0. There's no possibility. Okay. What's going on? Choose one answer or explain. Okay, Geshe says, I didn't understand what you said, and I didn't hear at all what you said.
There's 2 possibilities. So black does not prevail white, and white does not prevail black.
Okay. Munyore, carboina, napo imbe machap, napoina, carbo imbe machap. Okay, so if you calculate like this, you have to start from the first. Try to find something which is both. And in this case, we say there's not something which is both. Right? Okay, so Geshe says in this way, there are 3 possibilities. Okay, so Geshe says, I'm going to say that there are 4. So let me see if you agree with what I say. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. All right, so Geshe is saying my example of that which is both is any of the white color or black color. So if you say any of anything that could be white color or any that could be black color, isn't it? Any one of them, in a sense, any one of them, either of them, any one of them. Okay, so if you say either of them, is it either of white or black? Is it white? When you say either of them is black, okay, someone says no, it's not. So what is it not? Tell us. Geshe says, I didn't say this is black or this is white. I said either black or white, either or, any of, either white or black. Okay, you would have to give an answer that neither, sorry, either of them is black. Are you giving this answer?
But we are very good student. We listen previous class, black and white is complete opposite. This kind case only have two possibility. Then, correct?
Okay. Okay, yes, very good. You're giving a very good answer. It shows that you're following logic. We have explained this, so that's very good. So if I give you a possibility and say you could have either of them, right? You could have, it could be either white or black. So that means that you could say, when I say either white or black, it could be white. Either white or black, it could be black, isn't it? Yeah. Actually, because when we say if you have two, the white color and the black color, and I give you an answer that says it could be either white color or black color from this. So that means it can be white. That means it can be black, all right? And therefore, because you cannot say it is not, then we have to accept that this fourth option that we give here is the possibility. Okay, so remember what we said the other day, that black and white are opposites. So maybe you remember how we defined opposites. Opposites or contradictory things are those who are different and at the same time a common locus, a common basis of the two is impossible. So black and white are opposites. Now, since we are talking here about opposites, you know, usually in colloquial conversation, we say black and white, they are opposites. Yes, you can say that. But to be very accurate, the opposite of white is not white, right? Because on one side you have white, and if you want to understand white, it means you have to exclude, you have to eliminate something. So if you eliminate everything that it is not white, you are left with white, isn't it? So in that way, you have divided in two. On one side, you have white, and whatever is not white is on the other side. So these are the real opposites. Because if you only say black is the opposite of white, there are many other things that, you know, you are missing, okay? If you just say black, that doesn't exclude all these other colors, all these other possibilities to only leave you with white. So to be accurate, the opposite of white is not white. The opposite of black is non-black, not black. So here we're actually talking about direct opposites, and the way that this arises, the concept arises in your mind is by excluding, by negating everything else that it's not it. So when white appears into your mind is because you have negated, you have excluded everything else that is not white. And actually, when you say, I take away, I negate, I exclude everything that is not white, then in your mind, the concept of white arises. So taking everything else away, what is left? White. Okay. So there is, when you have that understanding of one appearing into your mind by excluding everything else, or by excluding everything else, something arises in your mind, then you're talking about direct opposites. Actually, even when we say that black is the opposite of white, the way that we justify this is because we understand that black, it belongs in the category of not white. So this is what allows us to say that black is the opposite of white, because it is not white. So when we say black is the opposite of white, on the side, what we establish is this idea of not white, that black is not white. So we say black and white are opposites. And remember, in that definition, we say in order to be opposites, first of all, they have to be different. And secondly, it has to be impossible to find a common locus, a common basis for these two. Remember, for the first one, where we say they have to be different, an easy way to establish that they are different is that they have different names. So do you hear different words? One word is black. The other word is white. So because your ears are hearing two different words, that very easily allows you to say, okay, these two things are different. I'm dealing with different things, isn't it? If I only say to you white, this is one single word. You haven't heard anything different, anything else. So this is just one. If I say to you black, this is only one word. So I'm not dealing with two or three things. It's just one thing. But if I say black and white, so I have this little word there, and, between the two, and now I'm hearing two. I'm hearing the black and I'm hearing the white. So I say, okay, now I have two things, two different things. I can add another one. They become three. They're different. I can keep adding. They can become 100 different things, isn't it? 1,000 different things. All right. If I say 100, this is just one thing, because it's one word, 100, isn't it? If I say 110, this is two things. If I say 100 and stone, these are two different things, isn't it? So remember, we mentioned in Pramanavartika, there is this explanation that says that if the sound makes you understand only one thing, makes you understand that thing, then it is one. But if you have sound that makes you understand this and something which is not it, then you are talking about different things. Okay, so if I give you the word vase, it's a single word. All you understand is vase. You don't understand, if I say vase to you, you don't understand, you don't conceive any other object. I just said vase. But if I say to you, vase and pillar, so now you understand something more than the vase. It's not just the vase. And actually, I use two words, two different meanings appear in your mind. So these are different.
Pena ye zugu de dang nyugu di taderu was. Soso ne tongu yore, soso ne ngazo kaka ne du samsangi. Migi ye tongu yore, samne nanga kortoyaji chagu yores. Chagu yore de nyugu di chigre lagruwa, zugu di chigre lagruwa. Kunyi ni kare taderes lagruwa. Naro ondu gala di chigre de zugu tang tadere. 이네 코 타데레스라나 말에 타데레와 죽고도 타데레도스라나 캬그 말레스 타데라 캬 맞아블라이데 베조지 당하요레스 다기 저런 종아서 캬 맞아 망고지 저러와스 어디 베조다 이 타데 아레스 치가레스나 레 죽고당 타데 아레스나 죽고당 타데레 타데레스라나 티치그로와니 타데가 아레시그레 죽고도 타데레데 타데 말레스 죽고도 타데이나 타데임베
Okay, now Geshe says, okay, I have the pen and I have my finger. Two different words, and also you can see them. They're different objects, isn't it? Okay, the pen on its own is one. The finger on its own is one. All right. The pen is different from the finger. But is the pen different, meaning many different things? No, because the pen is only one. So here we have to use this, it is pervasive, it is not pervasive, okay? So when we say that something is different from something else, it is not pervasive, meaning it is not necessary that the thing itself is different, meaning it is plural. Why? Because it is single. Okay, so did you understand the pervasion here? Okay, the pen is a single object. The pen is different from the finger, all right? So the question is, if something is different from the finger, is it necessarily many different things? So for example, take the pen, take that thing. Isn't it different from the finger? Is this many different things? But it is different from the finger. So you see that if it is different from the finger, it doesn't have to be many different things, isn't it? Okay, so now the pen is not many different things, but it is different from the finger. So if it is different from the finger, it doesn't necessarily have to be many different things, isn't it? Yeah, there is this one pen that is left, isn't it? Okay, if you take these two things together, all right, and this, these are two different things, many different things. Okay, so we have fulfilled the first part of the definition. These are different. Can you find a common basis of something which is both a pen and a cup? If I take these two together, like a group, I have two objects, isn't it? So I can say here that these are different, meaning plural. In English, we say two different things, don't we? Okay. But if I have them separately and I compare, I say the pen is different from the finger, but being different from the finger, it doesn't mean that it is many different things because it is single. Okay, so you can understand that this object can be different from this and this and this and this and this object, but that doesn't make it plural. It remains single object. So Geshe was saying, me, I am different from you and you and you and you, but I'm not many different things. I'm single. I'm one thing. Okay, so now do you understand better the definition of things that are opposite? Because it says opposites are those who are different, and at the same time, it is impossible to have common locus between these two. So therefore, we can say that these two are opposites. So going back into that answer about black and white, where Geshe says he gave us the possibility of that which is either black or white. Either black or white does not become both and does not make something which has a common basis between black and white. Either black or white, it says you're either going to choose to say this is white or you're going to say it is black. So you see how we come to the opposite? They are different and there is no possibility of a common basis, common locus. Okay, so when we debate, there are two types of debate. There can be debate about the meaning, so you're really debating here, or you could be debating with the words. So it's a play of words. And this one, either white or black, is not a real debate. It's a debate of the words. And if you go down, Geshe says in the monastery, when we debate, if you try to throw this as an answer, it is very much looked down upon, and your opponent will say, you're just playing with words. I'm not going to give you an answer. Okay, so Geshe says that was like a wordplay debate. So next time you can say, I'm not giving you an answer. However, here, when we debate Dura, collected topics, the whole purpose is to sharpen your intelligence so that you can analyze this, you can think about the other, check this possibility, that possibility. So within the context of Dura, you can, you can bring in these examples as well. Okay, so Geshe was saying, if you were to go to the office tomorrow and start having this conversation with the people in your office, the black and white are their opposites, and then you would say, what about that which is either black or white? That would get them thinking. They would be silent for a while because that would get them thinking. So, this is the wordplay debate. Okay. All right, so we will stop here for tonight. We finish the session. We offer a short mandala, and then we do the dedication prayers. Thank you, everyone. Geshe says, I hope you have a nice sleep. Sleep well tonight. Thank you, Geshe.